Welcome to the Principal Podcast, where we talk about how the best professional services firms grow. Whether you're looking to scale your firm or learn from the stories of founders and leaders who've done it, you're in the right place. Join us as we interview the best leaders in professional services. Let's get on with the show. Monica, welcome to the Principal Podcast. Happy to have you.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. My first time being on a podcast. So
whoop, whoop. First time on the podcast, live. This is going to be amazing.
All and things are new, yes.
I'm glad to be here with you whilst you go through that for the first time, Monica. Let's start simple then. Tell us the story. You've been an operator. You've basically been through almost all the C-suite titles one could have. HR leader and consultants. What led you to get into Launch Industries, and how has your vision for the firm changed since 2022?
Okay, great question. Thank you. So let's see, I had a restaurant business for 15 years. I've been an entrepreneur almost 20 years now. I owned a health foods cafe, all plant-based, and over, being at 3 different locations, dealing with all of the various challenges one could probably deal with in business, hiring employees and going through the process of learning about finance and how to deal with anything that could happen under the sun in the business. Really kind of was my starting point for becoming a business owner. Over time, I ended up opening a few other businesses. We had a coffee shop, my wife and I. We also owned a commissary kitchen business where we basically rented space to food entrepreneurs. So we had a large kitchen, 65 businesses rented space from us. And one of the things I learned at that business is because we were working with so many entrepreneurs, I learned that the people there knew their product, they knew how to create great product, but they didn't really know how to run a business. They didn't know how to run a company. And so I ended up doing so much assisting, how to set up your employer accounts for the first time, how to set up QuickBooks, how to use QuickBooks, how to do food costing, and how to get your different business licenses you need. And then how to become profitable and how to know when you're not, right? Because being out of money doesn't necessarily mean that the business isn't operating profitably. It could be a cash flow issue. So had a lot of experience and was just getting more and more requests to help other people's companies. And through the pandemic, ended up closing the restaurant and just went into consulting full-time from there.
You've been on quite the journey. What's the problem that you help people solve today? Like, what is it that you're helping them achieve exactly with your consulting services?
Yeah, I think that the main issues are that small business owners have a lot to do. They're wearing 17 hats. They're basically, especially as they get started, and they don't always have a lot of specialized experience in these different areas. So my company offers a variety of options for services. We don't come in with just one thing. We're not just a bookkeeping services firm or just a human resources firm. We actually have about 100 services offered over 13 key service areas with a large team of folks who are used to working with small business owners. So instead of a business owner having to go hire like a graphic designer over here and negotiate that contract, and hire a bookkeeper over here and hire an HR person over here and maybe someone to do their website over here, we have all of those services under one contract to make it really easy for the business owner. So we work on giving a business the team it deserves.
I like that phrasing. I'm curious to get a little bit deeper onto this, because it sounds like you guys are taking charge of all the things that a business owner cannot afford not to do, but at the same time where the highest value creation is not, right? The way I think about it is, you own a restaurant, you run a restaurant. What you want to do is amazing food, have happy customers, and for them to come back. HR, finances, payroll, accounting, like everything surrounding this is necessary, but it's not where the value creation is. So that's where you come in, but then you come with kind of this advisory role as well. Is my
Absolutely.
understanding
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why not limiting it to the, hey, we take, HR off your plate? Why, pun intended, why not just focusing on this? Why going the extra mile?
So when I was a business owner and was new to business, I experienced a lot of different consultants coming into trying to solve issues. But at the end of the day, the majority of them would hand the solution and that was it. And it was, okay, good luck. They didn't have the scale to be able to implement, especially when the implementation involved a lot of different areas of the business. And so I said to myself, like, I made our tagline at launch better together, because it's like when we can walk alongside the business owner and work on problems together, then they get solved. If we just hand it off to them to go solve, they don't have time, they don't have expertise, they don't um, uh, get to the bottom get to the bottom of the problems a lot of times. So that's why we advise, but we stick around, basically.
I like it. And that's also, I mean, the way I think about the business model, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, but that's also the perfect segue into, hey, we come in with accounting, payroll, HR services, but then we come with that layer on top where there is more value for you, there is more value for the customer, and you can also see like firsthand what's happening in the business and where you can help because you have the materials in front of you to be able to say, hey, something could be done better here. So I like it. That's a good business model. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I really like lean management. I don't know if you've ever looked into lean or know much about it. It's
Yeah, I read the book.
based on the Toyota's manufacturing
Yeah,
model, but that you talk about value creation, and it's like there's so much waste in a business in all areas, and so business owners don't always know how to look at their operation and see the waste.
yeah,
But like you said, they should be out creating value.
yeah,
So how do we make the back office cost less, be more efficient, and run well?
yeah. I like it. That does make a lot
Yeah.
of sense. Who is it that you solve those problems for specifically, Monica? Like, who is it that
Yeah.
make the most out of those services at the end of the day?
Yeah. Typically, it's going to be business owners who have less than 50 employees. Once a company has more than 50, they tend to start getting specialists into these different roles. And the type of services we offer as our kind of primary service is less needed. So I think that anywhere from I'm starting a company, I'm an entrepreneur, I have no business, I have no employees yet, I'm
No.
working on a business plan, all the way to we've been in operation for 10 years. We're struggling in these particular areas. We need help. So we can go
Yeah.
in to the businesses, and that could be nonprofit organizations as well. And then also, I don't know if you know, but a lot of our clients are actually government organizations who are hiring Launch to serve the businesses in their community.
Yeah.
So the government calls this technical assistance. So for example, with the city of Seattle, we're independent contractors, and we will go in and assist businesses in a program that's very cool called the ABC program. ABC stands for Accounting and Business Consulting, and we'll go in and the government will sponsor 10 hours for free with our company to go and assist a business owner. So it's win-win all around.
Okay, there are so many things to unpack here. First of all, love it. Is there a specific, so the end customer, right, the final business owner that gets the help,
Yes.
and we're gonna go into the governmental institutions. I'm very interested by the business model. But so, is there a specific? I'm thinking about you. Sorry, let me rephrase this. You're coming from the food and like restaurant space, right? Restaurant industry. Is that who you end up helping the most because you have just like network, legacy, and credibility there? Or is it pretty much any business with less than 50 employees at this stage?
Well, with a program like the city program, it's
Yeah,
not geared toward any specific industry. So it can be any
makes
industry
sense.
at all.
Yeah,
Um, some of the business that we get that leans us more into one direction is when we do specialized technical assistance programs. So for example,
Okay.
one of the kitchens here in the Seattle area that I helped the founder start has about 22,000 square feet of kitchen space. And he rents it's in 2 buildings. He rents to 220 food entrepreneurs. And so we have a contract with him where he sponsors technical assistance, and we can assist any of those 220 businesses who need help through a contract that he's sponsoring. So again, this could be things like helping set up QuickBooks, or helping someone understand or even set up their social media strategy, and many topics. But so we have that, and then we also serve a lot of cannabis businesses. When I owned the restaurant, it was not profitable consistently, and a lot of times I had to have side work. So I worked as a HR manager for a cannabis business, retail business, and helped grow it from 0 to 102 employees in 5 years with 4 locations. And so because of my experience in cannabis, we also have tons of cannabis businesses who we work with. And then we also work with just a lot of other service-based businesses as well.
Makes sense. So tell me more about those. So the city council, is that how you called it? Or how do you call you partnering up with the city of Seattle to offer the services, like 10 hours of free services? Who is that exactly?
Yeah. So the government usually calls those types of programs technical assistance programs. So we have 7 different technical assistance programs right now where an entity has hired Launch Industries to provide services to their members or their citizens. To provide, basically assistance that's free to the entrepreneur. We get paid, government gets successful businesses in their community. So it's all around
more jobs.
Great thing. Yeah.
It's a good win-win ecosystem.
Yeah.
Super interested in the business model. So how did you get there? Because I suspect when you start, right, you don't think, okay, we're gonna partner with the very hard to reach and close and very heavily red taped environment of the government institutions. So you go, we're going to help business owners. But how do you end up working with this type of program? What got you there?
Yeah, that's a great question, because to date, just since 2022, since I started, we've already helped 1,100 businesses in this space. So I think it kind of started with me having the commissary kitchen business that I co-founded with my business partners called Seattle Commissary Kitchen. Helped a lot of businesses start their companies, business owners. And then from there, I was hired by another company to do the same thing, but for farms and nonprofit organizations. It was part of a program through the Washington State Department of Agriculture called We Feed WA. During the pandemic, people are hungry, and there's a lot of great organizations trying to solve these problems of hunger relief, but they have capacity building issues a lot of times. So our consulting team would go in and assist them in building their capacity. So it was my first kind of big technical assistance contract. From there, I got the City of Seattle one, then I got some others, Department of Commerce, City of Sacramento, City of Long Beach, Sound Transit, just a bunch of different organizations where I've been able to me and my team has been able to assist these business owners. Some of the contracts are newer and we haven't had that much opportunity just yet because we've gotten them like in the last couple months, and then some of them have been long standing.
So I'm going down the rabbit hole here because it's rare that we have people on the show talking about this kind of stuff, so I love it. If you were to replicate that model, because clearly it's a good business model, right? It's like, okay, we can either go to all the small business owners and propose the help, or we can source the programs like this in all the cities where we can operate, because I know there are some rules in the US in regards to accounting, HR, and so on. But like, where can we operate? And then where can we find programs like this where basically not only do we get paid, but we also have the best lead generation system ever? It's like, hey, help for free. We're going to pay you to help those businesses. And then some of them will want to stick because they will like the experience, right? And they're like, okay, I want this on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
So this is such a smart positioning. But how do you develop marketing and branding and sales with government institutions like this? If that makes sense.
Great question. So, well, first of all, there are anywhere where there's groups of businesses. So this could be chambers of commerce that are serving lots of businesses. It could be associations,
Yeah.
other membership-based businesses like the kitchen that I told you about, right? Those are business members. So
Yeah.
any sort of organization that's offering services to large groups of businesses is going to be a good candidate for that, whether it's government or for-profit or nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
So identifying organizations like that in your community, I think is kind of where to start with looking at the options. But then I actually did this really cool program. It was actually a technical assistance program that I did called Apex Accelerator.
Okay.
And in the Apex Accelerator program, they help you build what's called a capability statement.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a capability statement so that when you go to events and you're trying to do networking, you have that thing ready that's, no more than, usually it's a page. I think ours is 2 pages front and back, one two-sided page. But you need the right marketing materials to leave with people after you make an impression with them, right?
Yeah.
So there's also lots of government contracting fairs that come up. If you want to do business with the government, I would look into city and state governments in your area and look to see how do you do business with that government agency and do they have programs like this?
Yeah.
I've found that they're less common, unfortunately. City of Seattle, for example, in Washington State is the only government city agency that I know of in the state of Washington that offers a program like the ABC program.
Okay.
But other states have different programs. So
Right.
yeah, so I think it's searching for programs like that and then getting yourself onto RFP. RFP is request for proposals, right? So getting onto government agencies that issue RFPs and putting, alerts for things like technical assistance.
Yeah. Who do you need to talk to ultimately to get started on this? So let's assume there is a program, right? Who is in charge of this? Because, I mean, we've interviewed a lot of consultants doing business with government institutions, and it's always, how do I stay corporate whilst I say this? It's cumbersome. Let's put it this way. So
Yeah.
who do you need to talk to partner with such a program?
Yeah, it's usually going to be an agency within an agency, one of the departments that deals with economic development.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to want to look for agencies that deal with economic development, whether it's, again, like a city, a state agency that deals with economic development, a nonprofit organization that deals with that. And I think that finding out, who's the program manager, trying to get into conversations, but a lot of times going to those sort of contracting fairs is going to be the best way to get face time with agencies like that. If you identify RFPs that your local government has issued in the past for RFPs like that, you can actually request copies of, the winning contracts. You can get copies of the bids, right, through the request for proposal process because of the Freedom of Information Act. So when I was getting started, I would get copies of the other people's proposals so that I could learn how do you write a proposal like this, because I had no idea when I started how do you write something like that, and you wouldn't know if you've never done it before necessarily. So yeah, kind of going through the request for proposal or the the public disclosure request process is good. Yeah,
super interesting. And again, kudos for the business model. I really like a good one, and this is smart positioning.
Thanks.
So walk me through. I feel we've kind of discuss marketing, branding, getting in front of the right people, what needs to happen to get there. Talk to me about retention, Monica. And again, this is where your positioning is very interesting because you have 2 angles for the positioning, I guess. There is for the retention, sorry. There is the consulting part of things, and there is the recurring kind of managed services, however we call them. So how do you think about retention, not as in let's make the most money as possible from each and every customer, but more how do we keep on bringing value? How do we differentiate? And therefore we stay with our customers for a longer period of time, which increases LTV. How do you think about this?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question, because for us, it's not about the making money part, really. It's about helping build sustainable organizations. And a lot of times, them keeping us in a specific role is not the right fit.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, so with Launch, because we have 13 different service categories, we essentially have a lot of doors into Launch, right? Someone might come in, walk in through the HR door, they might walk in through the website door, they might walk in through a marketing door or a finance door. A lot of times how it starts is we'll start providing services in that area. Maybe we're helping get their finances up to date. Maybe we're coming in to train them on how to use QuickBooks themselves, right? Every business has different budgets. They have different skill set. Every business owner has different skill sets, and every business owner has different things that they like doing and that they want to hire for. So I think that ultimately it's like a puzzle, is like figuring out what the services are, and then that evolves over time. So continuing to make ourselves relevant in different areas. A lot of times we might come in and handle an area, but then they're like, that was awesome. Like, let's go over to this other area and work on that. So we have very good retention once somebody comes on board as a client. The other thing that really helps too is we don't have any monthly minimums. So sometimes someone might come into our program and use us quite a lot for 3-4 months. Then they feel pretty settled. For a couple months, we don't hear from them, or they got busy, and then now they have a new need that's popped up. So we kind of build our contracts so that the door is always open to come through.
I like that. I like your style, Monica, and I definitely like your business model. So I'm gonna throw a little bit of a curveball question at you now, if you don't mind.
Okay.
What is your guys' number one challenge right now? What is the one nut that you're trying to crack that you know once you crack, you take the whole thing to the next level?
Yeah.
What would that be for you?
Are we talking kind of on a specific kind of service level, or more like the business overall?
So now that you've set yourself up, let's tackle both.
Okay. I think that the one challenge we're still figuring out is how to scope cleanup work for companies when they come in with a problem. They have a fixed budget, but we don't know what the problem is until we start working on it. We might not know that something is a 100-hour project until we spent 8 hours on it, right? Because we don't know what all is contributing to this, especially if it's a company we haven't worked for before. So really trying to figure out how to position things when there's this kind of cleanup work, and setting the expectations correctly before an invoice lands for a client is I think what we're really trying to nail down, is like, how does this process go? And again, we're new too. We've been in business for 4 years. We're still figuring things out. So I think that that's probably kind of on a single project is kind of a recurring challenge we're trying to get better at. And then I think in terms of scaling, just the company, is that kind of what you're asking? Is that kind of the other part of it?
So yes, and for you, I'm curious because there is always, so entrepreneurs, they have a revenue goal, right? Oftentimes, I understand. It feels at least that you guys are. I mean, obviously, there is no such thing as a free lunch, right? We need to be able to finance all this, but I feel you're much more mission and impact driven. So maybe that's the question, right? It's like, what's the biggest challenge that's stopping you from hitting the next big goal in terms of impact, mission, revenue, whatever it is, and whatever you feel comfortable sharing, of course.
Sure. I think for me, I've got to say it's probably a ability to scale from a financial perspective. It takes money to make money. And after my restaurant closed we went through the pandemic, we wound up with a bunch of debt, and I had to file bankruptcy after that happened. And so because I filed bankruptcy, it's been difficult finding financial institutions that will lend any kind of, let's say, like a line of credit. And sometimes when I've gotten these bigger government contracts, there's a lot of work that has to be done up front before you start receiving money and getting paid. So I might go 3 months of having to pay payroll before we receive any money back from the government. So it makes me really nervous about trying to go after bigger contracts, not having any safety net, and flat out, my bank telling me, we can't lend to you for 7 years. We can't open a line of credit over $10,000 until you've been 7 years past this bankruptcy. Another bank told me 10 years. So I actually left my first bank in favor of the second bank, who said that they would give me a $10,000 line. But now that bank's like, not for 7 more years, we can't increase it. So I think that just scaling issues are going to happen when we have limited access to capital. So it's a lot of grassroots and
which
really
so
digging in.
Thanks for sharing this, first of all,
Yeah,
Monica.
yeah.
Really appreciate it. And the reason I'm asking this question is there will be, right, with the audience that we have now, there will be people listening to this and probably facing the same challenge. And it's always interesting to see how your peers are thinking about how to solve certain challenges, because it can always give you ideas. So that's why I love this question in the show.
Yeah.
I'll say one thing, which is that's why I'm such a big fan of cash flow positive initiatives. Like if we can find a business model, an offer, and a way to advertise it that doesn't require debt. So obviously it's easy to say, harder to do, especially in like infrastructure and capital heavy industries. But for professional services, I do think there are some ways to like have some very cash flow, very positive operations, which allows to, go without debt. And at some point, if you want to leverage financing, obviously that's a possibility. But very interesting. Monica Colgan, ladies and gentlemen. Monica, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
Yep. So our company is called Launch Industries, and our website is launchindustries.biz, right? .biz. So probably starting there. And I always love to meet other founders too. If you hit that book a call button that's on our website, and there's a see everyone, you can find me and book like a 25-minute call. We can chat, and just love to network and meet other business owners. So that's how I think of the best way.
We will put all the links in the description. For what I'm concerned, I can say one thing for sure, Monica, it's that you've gained at least one new connection on LinkedIn out of this interview. Me, I've just added you. Monica, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. Yep, this was fun. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Principal Podcast. We hope you've learned valuable lessons and strategies to grow your firm and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.